Chapter 1. What is the pre-fight ritual dance? What is the Way? Most Muay Thai schools incorporate the Way into their teaching. The Way in Thailand is a traditional custom and courteous gesture that is used in everyday life. The Way is the custom of raising the palms of the hands and putting them together with fingers extended. The Way has many meanings. It can mean a simple hello or goodbye. It may also be an expression of appreciation, a sign of respect, or a request for forgiveness. The position of the hands and head of those who are gesturing the Way show the degree of respect and comparative ranks of those involved. Usually, the higher the hands and the more the body and head lean forward, the more respect is being expressed with the Way. The person initiating the Way and the person receiving or responding to the Way is another indication of importance or respect. In general, a younger person must Way to an elder and a subordinate to the senior. The Way will come quickly when there are two people who are equals, as neither one wants to look as if they feel superior to the other. Most commonly, an adult will not Way back to a child, and a higher-ranked individual may choose not to Way to a secondary. The Way is unnecessary with close friends, casual acquaintances, or adult relatives of similar age. Individuals who have not been introduced to each other will not Way. The Lord Buddha will receive the ultimate Way. In any of Thailand's brilliant temples, the individual will sit in a mermaid pose with the holy symbols of incense, candles, and the lotus flower pressed between the hands. Then, moving to the kneeling position, the individual will lean forward with the arms and head forward the floor, as in figure Way, Crew Pose 1. The individual's hands will then slide out to the side and back together 3 times. Note, this gesture is also done in the Way Crew or Ram Muay before a Muay Thai bout, as discussed in the next segment of this guide. What is the Way Crew or Ram Muay? In traditional Muay Thai, the Way Crew, paying respect to teachers, is one of the most important and time-honored traditions. The Way Crew pays homage to all teachers with the idea being that, in Thailand, any providers of knowledge, whether parents, educators, or trainers, deserve the utmost respect from the student. The teacher and student have a special relationship that endures through time. Many people perceive this tradition and additional teacher or student traditions as religious custom, which can be understood as monks are also teachers through their disciple Buddha, another illustration of the teacher or student relationship. The Way Crew or Ram Muay is performed by both fighters prior to their bout. It is a mandatory ritual in Thailand and should also be mandatory in Muay Thai fights in the United States. The belief of the Way Crew or Ram Muay is that when the fighters begin their dance, they represent their school and region. If the opposing teachers or ring coaches recognize the Way Crew or Ram Muay, the bout may be stopped because students of the same teacher or school of Muay Thai would be hesitant to fight each other. There is no literal religious meaning to the Way Crew or Ram Muay. Even though it may look like the fighter is praying, he is in fact paying respect to his teachers, parents, and mentors, and is thinking about his religion, his country, and his king. The Way Crew or Ram Muay is also a way for a fighter to stay warmed up and relaxed prior to his bout. Way Crew Pose 1. The above photo shows the initial Way Crew pose with a traditional mongkong. The mongkong is a circled adornment worn on the head as a charm to bring good fortune. The mongkong is also believed to keep the wearer from danger. The mongkong is worn while performing the Way Crew or Ram Muay and then removed by the instructor prior to the fight. Each Muay Thai camp or individual crew or teacher may develop their own unique style and method of making a student's mongkong, and in doing so, they may empower the mongkong with miraculous properties. To put that method to test, legend has it that one of the methods was to use a live snake, preferably of the poisonous kind, to enhance the result even more. The story has never been proven or disproven, but it is certainly worthy of mentioning. Another tradition, no longer practiced today, was the custom in which the mongkong was not removed from the fighter's head prior to the start of the bout, unlike today's competitions. In the past, if the Mongkong fell off during a contest, the opponent would stop the offense to allow a fighter to replace the Mongkong and would never use the opportunity to try and benefit from the opponent's vulnerable state. The next two photos are of the Ram Muay segment of the Y crew or Ram Muay. The Ram Muay provides a graceful and respectful way to warm up and pay homage to your country, teachers, parents, religion, and other loved ones. Y crew Pose 2. This photo and the one below both show the kneeling sequence of the Y crew or Ram Muay. This photo shows the starting position with the left knee on the ground and right knee outstretched in front. To perform this sequence, lean forward on your right leg and foot, and with the knee you began with on the ground. Lift the foot in a fluttering motion. You will then pivot around in the same spot, changing knees. Y crew Pose 3. There is no rule about which way you should turn. If your teacher taught you the Y crew or Ram Muay, turn the way you were taught. Tip: in Asian cultures, it is unlucky to turn toward the west, as that is the direction of the setting sun. So, do not start in a position where you will turn to the west. Tip: never lay down a Mongkong. A Mongkong should always be hung in a high place in an upright position. Note: the Mongkong in the photos, as in the Y crew Pose 1 and in Figure 75, was handmade by a mother of one of the instructors at the gym. The Mongkong will be used by the fighters of all ages at this gym. Removal of the Mongkong prior to a bout. There are step-by-step rules to removing the Mongkong from the fighter's head prior to the Muay Thai match. After the Y crew or Ram Muay is finished, the fighters meet in the center of the ring, where the referee gives instructions and rules. From there, each fighter returns to his respective corner for the removal of the Mongkong and the beginning of the bout. Step-by-step Mongkong removal. 1. The fighter will be in their own corner, facing their teacher, who is outside the ropes. 2. In a sign of deep respect, the fighter lowers his head and raises his hand to his chest with the Y pose. The teacher then raises his own hands to the chest to return the Y. Note: the Y is explained in a future section of this guide. 3. The fighter continues the Y pose as the teacher voices an incantation and blows 3 times on the top of the fighter's head, then removes the Mongkong with both of his hands. 4. He caresses the top of the fighter's head with one hand while still holding the Mongkong in the other. Those are the instructions for the complete ritual. There is a discretionary final step if the fighter chooses to take it. He may kneel on the floor of the ring and bow 3 times toward the teacher. This is not mandatory. Amulets and traditional fight customs. Amulets have always been an important part of a Muay Thai fighter's equipment or dress. Amulets are thought to have magical powers and are highly respected items. Some amulets are a dragut, pitsamoran, wand, prajid, or a pirid. They must be kept in an appropriate respected location. It is believed that if the amulets are put in a general location, like a lower shelf or on the floor where people might step over them, they will lose their mystical power. In these modern days, some fighters may choose not to have amulets or use them. These are considered private matters and are not discussed in this book. The Mongkong and prajid must be worn. The Mongkong is worn until the completion of the Y crew or Ram Muay, and the prajid is worn during the bout. The prajid is a band of cloth, customarily red and white, worn on the upper arm during a bout to encourage toughness, as well as help the fighter keep away from danger. Traditionally, a Muay Thai fighter can include any charm or amulet he respects into the prajid. Some have incorporated a strand of their father's hair or thread from his mother's sarong, used at the time of his birth, in his prajid. Wand is a species of herb that is used in conjunction with mystic prayer and is believed to provide the fighter with masculinity and the strength to tolerate the pain of a fleeting blow. The fighter would traditionally carry the herb inside the Mongkong or prajid. The fighter could also chew it prior to or even during the bout.